Hello, everyone. Welcome to a brand new episode of Witchy Business. I'm so excited.
It's been so long, I've forgotten what to do.
It feels so good to, just plug in the mic and be back on. But taking a break was really important as well. I feel like it was a good thing to take a break.
Yeah, we just had a catch up before pressing record, and so much has been moving, so much has been happening, and I think it's always good to take a break to process, but also to recharge. And we seem to go through similar cycles and waves of energy, so I feel like we're always in sync, aren't we? So we both really
when you were like, should we take a break? I was like, just yes. And at the same time, I feel like it was good for us to just remember why we created the pod, that we just made it because we love to chat, and we hope it's helpful for people to hear. And it's just like such a nice creative outlet, and it was nice to miss it. It was just really nice to miss it.
I think it's very real. The reality is it is a creative outlet, it's a creative project, and it's okay to take a break. As soon as you feel any kind of pressure or resistance, that's when it's time to just take a little step back. And that's something that we have learned with other things in our businesses, and more recently with this podcast, right?
And just when you said that, I'm like, that's interesting how easy it was to take a step back from the podcast, but how much I make it mean something about myself if I take a step back from something else. Like that I'm not good enough, that all of that. But with this, it was just like, that's totally okay.
Do you think it helps as well having each other, or is it just where you are in your journey?
It definitely helps to have each other. Absolutely. I mean, when I was saying it was nice to miss the podcast, I was like, but it wasn't nice to miss chatting to you, because we just had like an hour and a bit catch up before, because we were just like, we haven't caught up. Like, one of the main reasons we took a break from the podcast was we were just both so busy when we were looking at our diaries and where we were going to be and stuff, because you've just moved and I was away. We couldn't find like a day or a time where both of us knew ahead of time that we could be comfortably sat down with a mic. But it also means that we haven't actually caught up in a few weeks, and I did not enjoy that.
Me either. I feel so energized now after just chatting to you. I think that's like such a good, I don't know, because earlier today I was feeling really tired and I was thinking, how are we going to record a podcast? But now I'm like, oh, I'm ready.
I love that. I love us.
Love us.
I hope, like, for the people listening, that's what you also get from us, that we don't just energize each other, but that we energize the people who are listening as well. So let us know. What do you get out of this? Like, I'm just really curious, because I love listening to a podcast, and I would love to know what listeners get out of this one. I almost feel like we've got to announce what we've decided about moon notes and stuff. Just
okay.
Announcement coming. Basically, I think, like, moon notes doesn't bring us much when we record. Like, it's a nice moment where we chat and tune into the energy, but I think when we naturally flow, like this is what we've chatted about, when we naturally just flow on the podcast, it's the ones that resonate the most with people. So we're just going to focus our time on that. And maybe from time to time, when we feel the call to it, we'll do like a ritual episode. So yeah, that's our big announcement.
Yeah. And I mean, we'll probably be talking about the energy and the seasons that we're in, because that is what we're all about, but it's more just not having those specific designated episodes. Yeah,
exactly. But the aim is to just create that space so we can comfortably still show up every week and be there, because yeah, it's our creative outlet and we need it too. So
yeah. So in our chat before pressing record, I mean, as you would imagine, so much came out. Too much for one episode. But two things that we thought would be really fun to talk about today. So do you want to start off with what you were sharing about your...
Sure. So I mean, this might sound really basic to anyone, but something huge has like come to light to me today. And it's that I'm naturally really organized, like freakishly so. And I create order where I am, just really like, it's so who I am that I don't even realize that it, like, to me, it's not even something that I do. It's just how I am and like how I know myself to be. But that is actually really blocking me. It's blocking my creativity and how I express myself. And there's something in there that's holding me back. So I don't know how to be any different, because I haven't done that yet in my life, especially not as an adult. So yeah, I'm really excited to find out what that looks like. It's not like to be less organized, but it's to navigate the world differently, less like rigidly structured, organized way, and giving more space for creativity. Yeah, I've got no idea what that looks like, but I'm really excited to find out. So watch this space.
Yeah, I love that. But you even said that you have started doing that, because you shared that you were writing some notes and they weren't in any particular order. It was just like
so it's like I've just been getting more and more glimmers of possibility of what things could look like, life could be. And I've been feeling for a while that there's something that's not allowing me to access like this part of me that I know that's there, like this deeply creative side of me. And I didn't know what it was. And at the same time, there was this part of me that kept thinking I need like more space, more time, more free space, more free time. That's just not how my life is. Like, yeah. And also it's not like how I want my life to be. Yet that's what I thought would be the solution. And I feel like it's learning to be more in the messiness. That's like my key. So
yeah, I love it. And I feel it's made me think since you said that, because I also consider myself a naturally organized person. And even just before this call, I was writing some notes because I just have so much going on in my mind. I was like, I need to just get it down and write it somewhere. So I opened up a Notion and, I created a nice title and a nice subtitle and then some bullet points and then a paragraph. And then I had to split the section. And it just happened that way. It wasn't like it was, I was thinking about how to structure the document. But when you said that, I thought, actually, that's a really good point, because in a way, by by having, I don't think all structure is bad, but by having some structure, by being rigid, I guess, in the way that you're thinking or the way that you're approaching something, then it blocks the flow of the intuitive kind of creative side.
Yeah. And it's not like, it's quite subtle, because it's not that I want to be less organized.
Yeah.
It's that I want to be more comfortable with the discomfort of things not being in order.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I'm interested to see how this plays out. And I'm also thinking about how I can apply some of that too, because I think everyone could benefit from that. I think as a whole, as we've spoken about before, a lot of the population lack creativity, or they've lost their creative ability, their creative side.
Yeah. We don't give enough space in our lives for creativity to like be able to bubble up.
Yeah.
And I feel like I need to say it again, like more for me to say it again, that it's not that I want to be less organized, is that I want to become more comfortable with the discomfort that comes when things aren't in order. So become more able to just be in that murky waters of like not knowing how things are gonna turn out, what they're gonna look like, before I even start, just starting something. And like I was sharing before, like how I wrote and journaled, and it made no sense. And it was like, oh, and this could be possible. It was like a manifesting, but just so wide, broad, and open of like, and this happens, and then this happens, and like it went from a typical work day, what it looks like, to friends coming over for lunch, to like living in this place. And it just makes absolutely no sense. Like there's no timeline, you know, it goes from the in 10 years to tomorrow to in 5 years. Like there's no timeline, there's no geographical location, because I literally go from like, and then I'm back home, and then it's in Europe, and then it's just, and it doesn't matter. And it was everything that was coming through, I was just putting it down. Whereas before, I naturally like try to make it make sense when I'm writing. And more what I've started doing, actually, I've just realized that I've started doing this, is I use Evernote, and I just have like notes of like starts of thoughts, you know, of like continue to write on this, but it's just like, this is like a random thought that popped in. And then when ideas keep popping in, I just keep writing it. And then I put that into order. Whereas before I would like have an idea, sit down, and like, as I write, make it structured and be like, no, but you put this bit first. And that comes so naturally to me that I don't realize that I'm actually trying to organize my thoughts.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing, is like, it's so part of how I am.
Yeah.
So it's distinguishing that and creating a little bit more space between the order and what I'm doing. So what I'm doing can be just creative without being orderly.
Yeah. Is it like detaching from the outcome almost? Because does the organization tie to the outcome?
Detaching from the process.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it's detaching from the process.
Because I actually have just started doing something similar, where I have a document open, and whenever I have a thought, I just pop it in. And then I was thinking how structured and neat it looks, but it's more just, the purpose of it is more just to capture these thoughts and ideas as they come, because those always spark ideas, whether that's, you know, some kind of download or a piece of content later on, like whatever it is. I think that it's really a great way to just capture all of these ideas. But a question for you is what's bringing the discomfort? Is it the not knowing exactly how? So say, for example, you're starting a project, let's say your course that you're creating. What's bringing the discomfort? Is it not knowing what the finished product is going to look like, or the process?
It's the
or what does that
to me? It's the process. So I'm okay with the idea of not knowing what the thing looks like, and I get quite excited when something kind of like just comes in that I wasn't expecting, but the process is so organized. And everything in my life is so organized. Like, and the thing is, actually, as I'm talking, what I've realizing is that I'm so organized, but then I spend a lot of energy rebelling against that organization because it's not who I'm meant to be. That makes me like quite happy in a way, because I'm like, oh, the fact that I rebel against that shows that it's a thing that I do.
How do you rebel? What does that look like?
Like, I'll create a lot of structure in my day and then fuck it. And then I don't follow it. But because I do that, there's then the time that I spent to organize it, the battle in my head of like resisting it before I allow myself to not do it, and then the judgment because I didn't do it. That's a lot of energy, instead of just waking up not knowing what I'm doing and going for it. But I'm really uncomfortable with that because I don't know how to achieve anything by not being organized, because I've never allowed myself to try to figure it out, to see what I could achieve by not being so organized. I've never even tried it. And now I'm like, I'm excited to imagine what I can create from that place, because that place of not being organized actually feels really free. It feels like that childish energy of so much freedom, and days are so long, and we sleep when we're tired, we eat when we're hungry, and we play until we're so exhausted we fall asleep in the most random position, as children do. And I love that energy. And it's just like, oh, actually, that could be my life.
I love that. I would love to know, for anyone listening, what this is bringing up for you, because I'm feeling like I love the sound of that too, but I also have no idea what it looks like to create something from that place. Like, it's making me feel like I can physically feel the like the discomfort of it. Yeah, because what does that even mean? Like,
I don't know, but I'm really excited to find out.
Yeah, but I guess that's the point, isn't it? It's like we have been so conditioned to believe that everything needs to have the correct order. It's not just an order, it's the correct order, because that's how I create. It's like, this is how the process needs to look, because this is what's right for me.
And you know what I've just seen? We literally like met doing a course. Like our coaching course that we did, which is not how we coach. First step, end goal. Then you work backwards from it. Then you set a timeline. Then you like, and now, no, but that's interesting, because I do feel like it's good to have the end in mind, but one of the 7 habits.
7 habits of highly effective people, but also that's not what you're not saying to not do that. You're saying you know you're okay with not knowing what the outcome is.
Yeah.
But it's more the process.
Yeah.
And when I say it's good to have the end goal in mind, it's more like that's, you know, the direction that you want to, it's good to have direction. That's the direction that you want to go in. That's the ideal outcome. But there's so many different ways of getting there.
And also being really open for that idea to decide by itself what it wants to look like.
Yes.
Like one of our favorite books, Big Magic.
Yes.
It's just like, start it and then see where it goes. I was listening to a podcast of someone who's writing a novel, and she's like, I know the name and the story of the two main characters, as in the background story, as in what she's not putting in the book. She knows that, and then she's got no idea what they're doing. And then she writes and she's like, oh, this is cool. So this is where we're like, she figures out, she discovers where her characters are going, what they're doing, and what the story is as she writes. And that's the kind of energy that that's the kind of energy that I want to bring. But then I'm like, I just want to figure out what's there. Just kind of show up and be like, okay, cool. So I've got a broad idea of, and I mean, I've got a broad idea. I've got a full map out of a program, all the modules, how long it, but like when I say how long it's going to be, I'm also very open for it to be a different length and to just start it with like 2 or 3 people and figure it out as I go. Like, do they need extra modules? Do these like land? Is that necessary?
Yeah. But in that example, the end goal is the book.
To write a book. Yes.
Yeah. And for you, it's the course.
Yes.
And I think I actually feel like I don't like a structured process, like not a structured, that's the wrong word. But for example, for my course, I knew I wanted to have a course, but I have been very open, and it's still running, and I'm still open to it changing and evolving. And actually that is how I like to create. But thinking about it, for things that I have done before, that's where the discomfort comes from, not knowing. So for example, our backgrounds, right, in marketing, whenever I think about marketing for my business, or you know, whatever kind of marketing it is, I'm like, okay, well, it's this, I know what it should look like, it's this and this. Whereas it's like, how can you kind of let go of that process with everything?
Yeah. And to me, it really is with everything. Like, I'm just like, okay, where can I, like, I love cooking, but I will literally be like, well, the first step, like if you're making a stir fry, cook the rice first, like before, but then I get into like hyper organized mode, like
okay.
Like, well, as I'm cooking this, I'll cook this at the same time, and then that way I can make 2 meals while I'm making 1 meal, and I get like it is so natural to me, it scares me. And like the other day I was observing myself, I went to do one thing and I was like, holy crap, this is where people see me and think I've got ADHD, which I probably do, but also, do we not all have it a little bit, like, conversation for another day?
It's a spectrum.
It's a spectrum, and I think we're all on it, and it's just like, when I'm dysregulated, got more signs of it, literally started something and was like, this task takes longer but happens with, so I'll put a load of washing on, and then while I'm doing this, I'll do this and this and this and this. I started like 50 million things, because as I would start something, I'd be like, yeah, but the more organized way of doing this thing is doing this step first, because this is also important, and this can be done simultaneously to this, but that can't. Literally, like, my brain just went like flow chart, like mind map of
Yeah.
And it was like I was seeing, and this is how my brain works, but I could literally 3D see all the tasks and like how long they took and what could be done simultaneously to something else and what should be done first. And I could see myself just like reorganizing the flow chart of things.
Yeah.
Which was very helpful when I was project managing, because
yeah.
in 5 seconds I'm like computer mode of,
yeah,
you see in the movies and you see like all the charts and stuff of them thinking like that. But I saw myself in that and I was like, whoa, it's been 30 minutes. You still haven't cooked your bloody eggs and you're starving. Just,
yeah,
it doesn't need to be done efficiently. Just do it. It doesn't need to be organized. It doesn't need to make sense. Just do it. But I literally have to stop myself. Like, it is insane how it works.
But that's interesting because I'm like, but that's how my brain works. Like I what you're describing, I'm like, me too. Right. But what's wrong with
it's not wrong. And that's it. Like, it's not wrong because sometimes it's super helpful.
Oh,
but
okay.
In this case, lately that's what's blocking me.
Got it. Okay. Yeah.
So it's not wrong, and it's not something I want to stop
doing. Yeah.
I just want to give more place for it to be messy and for it not to be so. Yeah.
Yes, I've got it. Okay. So yeah, it's not with everything, but noticing when it's blocking you from really expressing yourself. And
just making me, like, literally in that moment I probably did like a lot of chores and did some things, but I was doing a lot of things for like 2 hours.
Right.
All I wanted to do was cook 2 bloody eggs. Like, that takes 5 minutes, and then sit down and do the work that I decided I was doing that day.
Yeah. So it's almost procrastination as well.
It's, in a way, yeah. Like, I rarely sit there and take time to plan things. Like, it's not organization in that way because it happens so naturally that I almost don't need to.
Yeah.
But it's just like there's that layer of thinking before the creative doing.
Yes, rather than just
blocking me.
Going for it. Yeah.
And just like being comfortable with, like, you know what? I can work while the kitchen is messy. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
And like, let's put things into perspective. What I consider a messy kitchen is probably a very clean kitchen for most people.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's definitely it's like you have to step into that mindset of like, because if you are thinking, if you're like, I can't ever work in a messy kitchen, let's say, then you can't. Whereas if you're like, let's just see what comes out, then there's like, you can see literally like the possibility open up.
Yeah.
And because I really resonate with that too. And I feel like sometimes I really get in my head when there's mess around me and I become really overwhelmed. But then if I can't physically tidy or move stuff, because, you know, for whatever reason, sometimes you just can't, then you have to step into like, well, this is my space. I've got to step into it and show up, and then you're okay. So it's,
and I would like that that's what I mean by like learning to be more comfortable with the discomfort of things not being in order.
Yes.
It's in so many ways. Like, my dream is to literally be like, you know, in the middle of a holiday house with my friends, grab my laptop, sit down, put headphones in, and be like, this just needs to happen. Sit down, beer in hand, like feet up in the sun, just typing my like little happy self away. 45 minutes later, being done, like happily closing my laptop. Well, I can't do that. but I
okay, yeah.
dream of that.
Yes.
Like that's
Okay.
what I aspire to, and I see like how my organized self makes that impossible. Like doesn't allow me to do that. I've got like literally in front of me right now, like a cupboard shelf thing. It's full of boxes. I've got like 2 boxes of beads and things to make jewelry with. My whole life I have always had this box, like not this particular box, but I've always had like things to make jewelry with. I have like watercolors, pens, watercolor papers, and all of this thing. I haven't touched it in over a year. Doing that shit brings me so much joy. But it's like I've got to plan a time where I can do that, and when I start, I can't let the mess lying around if I start something else. And I dream of allowing myself to have like mess on the, one side of the lounge room. I live alone.
Yeah.
This whole space is my creative place. Yet, is there beads out? Is there like a watercolor paint station set up somewhere? No. Like, and that's more what I want, is to allow myself to like be able to work sat down on the floor with beads on the side of me and some, and just, I
love this for you. We need updates. We'll check back in a couple of weeks. Yeah. And see, because I think that it will be a really great thing to track and share insights and share your learnings and ways of doing that, because
of being messy, and it's not messy as in like dirty and unclean, because no,
I think it's like because I actually sometimes do prefer working on a messy desk, and again, not unclean, messy, because it does allow me to not focus in on like the logical strategy. It allows me to just be a bit more free.
I don't remember the last time I've done that.
And that's why I wanted to, because it's really, it's funny how, I mean, everyone has a different working style and a way of working, and things that they like, things that they avoid. And so it's interesting, just even in this conversation, like I felt like what you were describing, I was like, oh yeah, that's me too. But then as we go on, it's like I can see how there's some crossover, but also different working styles. And I just find that so interesting, because when you apply that to like the working world, like a company, and you have lots of different working styles. And I mean, if you're on a desk with someone who loves like being structured and loves clean space versus someone who loves the mess, like that's so frustrating.
Shout out to my friend Beth. I used to clean desk. I used to be like, and she sat behind me, so like in a U shape behind, so I didn't see her desk as I was working, but then I got moved next to her and I was like, nah. And she is insanely efficient. Like literally, if I had to think of someone I know who is efficient and creative in her work, she's it. Yet she's so fucking messy. And like, last year she came over with some friends and we were all like, the mess is all hers. And we were really okay with it, but she's such an organized person. And she gets so much shit done in her mess. I love it.
It's almost like an organized mess. It's like she probably knows where everything is.
She does.
It just looks messy to you.
It really does. So
that's funny.
I'm gonna call her after.
Well,
I'm channeling you.
Give me your tips.
And I want to say, like, I could very easily get stuck into the why I'm like this, because the why I'm like this is from my upbringing and from seeing how uncomfortable it made others to see me in my full creative flow as a kid. I think I scared people almost, like in that like full energy, and it made my parents uncomfortable to an extent because my room was messy and because I did 5 million things and bounced off the walls and had a million ideas and talked all the fucking time, like just, you know. And so I became super organized. So I didn't have to deal with the discomfort of their discomfort, because their discomfort about me makes me uncomfortable. So then I fit into them. And I could get stuck into that. But that's been done. Like, so now it's just, okay, cool. That happened. And it was not badly intended. It's just the way that it is. So move on from, like, okay, now take your own responsibility. And because getting stuck in the why am I like this is going to get me nowhere. It's just going to keep me in my head. And it's just like making something make sense, which is bringing order to a thought or a way of being. That doesn't help you to move forward. It's like taking full responsibility for the state that you're in now. And then, yeah, moving on from that. So, and it's, again, like not being less organized. It's being more comfortable with the discomfort that comes up when there's less order. There's a nuance in there, because then it's not a relationship or a resistance to the organization.
Yeah.
It's an ability to hold the discomfort when there isn't order.
Yes. Because order and organization are different. Like what you were just saying about your friend, she can be really messy, but she's really efficient. And for me, efficiency and organization, well, actually they're all linked really, but
there's a nuance.
Yeah. And just because you are one doesn't mean you're the other, or you can't be the other, or you can be, you know, it's yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited. Watch this space, everyone. Shall I share the other thing that we were discussing?
Yes, because I love it so much.
So the other thing we were discussing is I said, and you said that I was a total millennial for saying this, but I am, and I want to encourage everyone listening to channel this as well. I am in my main character energy era, and it feels good because the main character in a film always gets everything that she wants, and everything always works out. Yes, there's a bit of turbulence along the way, but then everything works out because everything is always working out for you. And so I'm just channeling that. And
main character energy era.
Yeah. And it feels really good. And it's funny because when we were talking earlier, and I know we've spoken about this before on the podcast, but thinking back to when we were kids, and well, both of us have said that we would daydream a lot. We would put ourselves out there. We would just be confident and expect things to work out the way that we wanted them to. And they did. And so somewhere along the way, we've lost that ability to just assume and expect that things are going to work out because of, you know, our trauma and experiences and all the things that we have taken with us. And so now I'm just, by channeling the main character energy, it's really just channeling my inner child who just gets what she wants and makes it happen. Because really it's not just like things happen, it's more like I'm putting myself out there and expecting the result, because that's what happens to the main character.
Yeah, I love it.
So there it is.
Channeling your MCE.
I love it. Yeah. So main character story updates to come.
Yeah.
And I love, just to add to that, the idea of the main character energy is really, it's kind of like lucky girl syndrome. It's like saying to yourself or believing, what if life was easy?
Yeah.
What if opportunities came to you easily? What if making money was easy? What if signing up clients was easy? What if finding love was easy? And because that's what it looks like in the movies, you know? Oh, it's easy. Oh, look, she just bumped into that guy and married him. Like,
do you know what? I'm just right now, I'm seeing the Barbie movie.
Oh, I can't wait.
Oh, 2-year-old me and 33-year-old me is beside.
Oh my God. Have you?
Life. And they were, I played with Barbies for longer than was socially acceptable. But
have you watched the trailer?
Have I ever? It's like every snippet interview thing there is, like, about it. I watched a whole like Architecture Digest interview about the set of Barbie.
Oh wow. I want to watch that.
Yeah,
I love it.
A big interview about the outfits in Barbie.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah. I mean, come on. It's a movie where everything's pink, so it is.
Yes. But I was gonna say, I love it where there's that scene where she's like, which shoe would you choose? It's like the high heel or is it like a Birkenstock? Yeah, flat shoe. And she's like, oh, I think I'll just go back to the heel. And she's like, no, you can't do that. But it's like
flat shoe.
Yeah, and it's like the Matrix and the red pill, blue pill. Yeah. And it's so funny because I feel like it's often what we say. I mean, I've certainly said that so many times, like, can I just go back now, please?
And not can I just go back to spiritually bypassing myself about everything? Funnily enough, that was my high heel era. Heels every day.
So good.
Yeah. I'm beyond excited for the Barbie movie.
Yes. Well, yeah. Let us know, everyone listening, what you are channeling in your main character energy era, please.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Look at me. My main character energy is channeling like lack of order.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love it.
So cool. All right.
So
good to be back.
Yes.
So good. Love this.
Me too. We'll be back next week for another episode.
Yeah. Bye, everyone.
Bye.